Hi there, Jeff Dick. Sorry, just reveling in another Leafs victory. Welcome to Top 5 Tuesday. Welcome to another edition of Top 5 Tuesday. And you know, country music has been incredibly blessed. We have so many artists whose careers have lasted many, many years. Dolly Parton, Willie Nelson, George Strait, guys like George Jones, who were around for such a long period of time, gave us decades of incredible and amazing music. But today, we focus on the other end of that spectrum. The stars who shone brightly and were gone much too soon. Our top 5 gone too soon country stars. At number 5, Joe Diffie, who passed away last year at the age of just 61. And it was more how Joe Diffie passed away that kind of shook the country music world. He was one of the first big names to be a victim of the coronavirus. Last year, March 27th, he made the announcement on his Twitter account that he had tested positive for COVID-19. And it was just 2 days later that Joe Diffie passed away at the age of 61. Losing one of the biggest stars of the 90s, he had 5 #1 hits, 35 songs on the country charts, and to lose him in such a way just 2 days after the announcement that he had contracted COVID-19, it was a blow to the country music community. Gone too soon, Joe Diffie at number 5. At number 4, gentleman Jim Reeves, who passed away at the age of just 40 in a plane crash over Brentwood, Tennessee. Now, Jim was a pilot in his spare time, so he was at the controls of a small plane with just him and his business partner aboard. They were flying back from Arkansas when they encountered severe weather, and unfortunately, that plane crashed near Brentwood, Tennessee. Jim passing away at the age of just 40 years old. He had been one of country music's biggest stars in the early 60s, and it was a tough blow for country music. His widow was instrumental in making sure that his legacy, though, lived on. There were plenty of recordings he had done that had not been released, so she made sure that those got out after his passing and kept his name out there, and he actually scored a couple of posthumous #1s, and it was in 1967 that he was posthumously inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame as well. So Jim Reeves, he's at number 4. At number 3, Keith Whitley, who passed away at the tender age of just 34 years old. He burst onto the scene in the 80s and quickly became known as not only one of the best singers of that era, but one of the best writers as well. Had a couple of #1 hits with I'm No Stranger to the Rain and When You Say Nothing at All. Was a really good emotional songwriter. He could really bring that emotion to the forefront with his songs and produced some of the absolute best music of that mid-80s period, and unfortunately struggled with alcoholism, and that is what led to his passing at the age of 34. He was found unresponsive by his brother-in-law, who rushed him to hospital. Unfortunately, it was acute alcohol poisoning that claimed Keith Whitley. Doctors saying he had a blood alcohol content of 0.47%, which is the equivalent of 20 one-ounce shots of 100 proof whiskey in his system. A sad end to what was a very bright young career with still plenty of miles left in that tank, and unfortunately, we lost Keith Whitley way too early at the age of 34. He's number 3 on the list. At number 2, we have a story of one of the saddest plane crashes in country music. Now, in the rock and roll world, February the 3rd, 1959 is forever remembered as the day the music died. The plane crash that claimed the lives of Ritchie Valens, the Big Bopper, and Buddy Holly. Country music has their own day the music died, and that was March 3rd, 1963. It was on that day that a plane crash claimed the lives of 3 of country music's biggest stars, Cowboy Copas, Hawkshaw Hawkins, and our number 2 artist, Patsy Cline, who was just 30 years old, and just seeing her star really start to rise in the music world. Not only was she a big draw in country music circles, but her crossover appeal was through the roof, and on the pop charts, she was starting to see some tremendous success as well. Her songs like Crazy and Walkin' After Midnight continue to be country music standards. Her powerful vocals were absolutely incredible, and everybody seemingly loved Patsy Cline. She was on her way to being one of the all-time greats, and unfortunately, it was snuffed out way too soon. Her legacy, though, does remain strong, as she was an inspiration for so many amazing country music women that followed. But Patsy Cline, passing away at the age of 30, she's number 2. Number 1 on our list of country stars gone too soon, it has to be Hank Williams, who passed away at the age of just 29 on New Year's Day, 1953. This was the biggest star in country music in the late 40s and early 50s, almost single-handedly bringing the genre to national prominence. His appearances not only on radio and television shows, but at concerts around the U.S., he was the biggest name in country music. And when you lose the biggest star in your industry at the age of 29, it is a gut check to a lot of people in country music, and I'm sure that that hit everybody hard. New Year's Day, 1953. 2023 to kick off a new year with that horrible news that Hank Williams was gone at just 29 years of age. But he left us with a legacy of absolutely incredible music, and his music continues to live on, and it will live on forever. Unfortunately, gone way too soon. Hank Williams at 29, he is number one on this list. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back again next week with a brand new edition of Top 5. Have a great week.